We're going to do a quick review of writing equations of lines. So the first thing we looked at was writing equations of lines from graphs. And that's where our first step is to identify our y-intercept. So on my first graph, my y-intercept is -2. And then I want to find my slope, which would be up 1 over 2. So my m is 1/2. And we're going to use y equals m x minus b. We do the same thing for the next one. The main thing that people will mess up on the next one is my slope. So my b is 4, and my slope is going to be, I'm going to go to that point, down 2 and right 3. So my m is -2/3. A lot of people will miss that negative. Y equals -2/3 x plus 4. The last one is not a slanted line. If it's not slanted, that means it's either a Hoy or Vux equation. This is a vertical line, which means that the equation is going to be x equals a number. So x equals, where is it passing through? 3. The next set of problems that we did where you were given your slope and your y-intercept and you wrote the equation. This literally is as easy as y equals mx plus b. Y equals 4x plus 5. Now, I have two special slopes. My two special slopes are 0 and undefined. And that's where, once again, we want to use Hoy-Vux. So this first problem, I have a slope of 0, which means it's a Hoy equation. So it's going to be y equals -6. The second one gives me undefined, which means it's going to be a Vux equation. So x equals -7. Don't spend too much time thinking about those questions. They're meant to be just something to plug and chug. All right. Next, we learned about a new formula for when I don't have my y-intercept. So if I'm not given my y-intercept, we're going to use y equals m x minus h plus k. So I substitute in my m and then my h and k. Remember, h and k are just from your point. So y equals, my m is 2. X, the minus in the formula means opposite, so the opposite of -1 is +1. And keep k, so plus 4. And we're going to distribute the 2, so 2x plus 2, and add the 4, which gives us y equals 2x plus 6. Same thing for the next one. Y equals m. My m is -1/3. X, here's my h and my k. The negative in my formula means to change the sign. So opposite of -9 is +9, and I keep k. So y equals distribute -1/3 x. Negative times a negative is a negative, and let's review multiplying by a fraction. Even though this one you might be able to do in your head, you do 1 times 9. You do the numerator times the number in your parentheses, and you put it over your original denominator. So that would be -3 plus 2. So my final answer is y equals -1/3 x minus 1. The next one I have is a special slope, so that means it's either Hoy or Vux. If it's a slope of 0, that means it's going to be a Hoy equation. So y equals, and now I look at the point they gave me, what is the y value they give me? 5. No calculations required. Looking at the next one, they gave me a special slope, so that means it's going to be either Hoy or Vux. Since it's undefined, we're going to do Vux. So x equals, what's the x value they gave me? -4. Don't make it too complicated. Now we're going to do when I don't get my slope either, and I have to also find my slope. So if I'm writing the equation, my end goal is y equals m x minus h plus k, but I'm going to need to find the slope first. So how do we find slope? We plop our points in our lovely table. So -4, 5, and -6, 9. So how do we go from negative 4 down to negative 6. We minus 2. How do you go from 5 to 9? We add 4. And slope is change in y, which is 4, over change in x, which is negative 2. So we get negative 2. So there's my m I'm going to use. And now I just choose eeny, meeny, miny, moe, which of the points to use. So I'm just going to choose the first one because I feel like it. And those are going to be my h and my k. So y equals my slope of negative 2. X minus means opposite, so plus 4, plus 5, keep your k. Distribute and combine like terms. Y equals negative 2x, negative 8, plus 5. So y equals negative 2x minus 3. Same thing for the next one. Plug it in your table. Copy, paste, don't start switching stuff. And how do we go from negative 3 to negative 6? We go down 3. And how do we go from 8 to 9? We go up 1. Slope is change in y, which is 1, over change in x, which is negative 3. So I'm going to do a slope of negative 1/3. And for this one, I'll choose the second point, just to show it doesn't matter, but I could do the first one. If you feel like being a rebel, do the first one, and you should get the same answer. So y equals m, which is negative 1/3. X minus means opposite, so this is plus 6. Keep your k, which is 9. And now we're going to distribute and combine like terms. Distribute, so negative 1/3 x. Once again, this one is something you could do in your head, but let's review fractions. 1 times 6 is 6, and then put it over your denominator, which is 3, plus 9. So I get negative 2 plus 9. So y equals negative 1/3 x plus 7. All right. So first step, put it in the table. 2, 8, 2, 5. I hope you notice something as you're writing that. Look at your x column. What are your x numbers? 2. So guess what your equation is? X equals 2. Done. Yeah, we didn't need to calculate anything. If I did try to calculate it, you would get an undefined slope, which would tell you it needs to be a Vux equation, and then you would probably start just chasing your tail and going back and forth what to do. So just use your eyes and look at what is happening. So as I've been talking, I was writing my table for the next problem. Can you use your eyes and see something about that table? Dun, da, da, da. Y equals negative 3. Both my y values are negative 3.